Welcome to Mediocre Gaming, and today we're playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Zero. Let's get to it. Alright, so today we're doing the second part of Paladin Stone, starting with Fiery Ambush. But before we get to that, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and ring that bell to be notified of all future episodes as soon as they go live. So let's get into it. So previously we were taking care of the supply line of Edwin so that she would be in a less impregnable state in her castle. Now we're taking out some of the guys that were coming for supplies. So the backup's not going to be coming. Now Folke was here to, quote, help. Although I don't see her anywhere, she's watching, and that seems to be about the extent. So originally you were supposed to, they said, hey, go ahead and create an ambush, put these jars along the road so that when the soldiers come, you can spring an ambush and take care of them. The problem, of course, was that I put the ambush on the wrong side of the road. So instead of the west side of the road, the east side of the road was trapped. So it didn't work out too well for me. I had to basically pick up the jars and throw them at the soldiers to try and improvise an ambush of a sort. But in this whole thing, Folke's got a whole bunch of names that we've heard so far. Witch, Madwoman, Prophesier, Seer, Madwoman. But no matter how you slice it, she's sounding a little bit more sane than Sigurd is right now. So we're going to have to dive a little bit deeper and see what is going on and try to get to the bottom of all of this that's going on and happening. But in order to move forward, we need to take care of these enemies. It never gets old putting the enemies on fire until you put yourself on fire. So, not great. But take care of the enemies however you can. Hopefully your ambush works out much better than mine did, where you could take out the whole troop without much muss or fuss. Now, Folke always seems to talk in riddles and, circular logic. And I don't know if that is by design or if she has that knowledge, or if she believes this knowledge where she's saying these different things. Yeah, ignorance of what? The perfect sentence. If you don't know what questions to ask, then you could be perceived as ignorant or, not knowing how to play the game. Sigurd is basically proclaiming himself to be a god or descendant of a god, thus having dominion over the land, but he wants to verify it with this mysterious stone that we've not seen yet. And Folke is like, well, not the ill-begotten one, but one of the lesser imperfect gods. All right, so that's all done for Fiery Ambush. And now, ringing sign bell Sinbel. Cinnibel. One of those has to be close. Now the nice thing about Geadric is he always tells you where you stand. He's always upfront about you. So as a politician, I don't think he's that great, because he's not going to be able to smooth things over. But as a warrior king, I think he's got the backing. By my joints and ankles. All right, so we need to go take out defenses in the castle that the ones hold up in, and may have the stone there as well. Sigurd stone. So you'll find a way in. You can stealth the whole thing, and it's probably a good thing to do. Try and stealth the whole thing, because it's, as you get into it, there's just tons and tons of enemies. But you have to take out like the oil cauldrons, and then these giant crossbolts machines that could pin 3 soldiers in full armor at one time to the ground. So your crow can see the general area where they're at. Once you get close enough, it'll be tagged to make it at least a little bit easier. And there's a gauge on the left-hand side, but there's actually more than that number. So there's a minimum number that you have to find and sabotage or take out, but anything beyond that is optional. I will say there are just a horde of enemy soldiers in the castle, which does make sense, but it feels like you can't even make a move anywhere without being seen by at least one of them, if not, 3 or 4. So even skulking about might be a little bit difficult, so you'll probably want to stick to the roofs for the most part until you have to do the actual sabotage. But when stealth fails, luckily you have your weapons, whatever you're using, axe or great axe or sword or flail, bow, etc. Now I have to say I was a little surprised at how many pieces of machinery or sabotage worthy machinery were in each location. Occasionally you only had one, but it seemed like more often than not there was 2 or even 3 pieces. Now my general motto in stealth-ish games, Assassin's Creed certainly, is to try and do the stealth first, and then when that fails, take them out however you can. And in general, I can sometimes do the whole thing in stealth, but I like how this guy was standing in the corner just waiting for me. Like, all right, I'll wait for you over here. All right, you ready to dance? Let's go. But it can sometimes be very difficult to do stealth only. And certainly, if you do it right, I think it takes a lot longer. If you kind of do stealth, but you kind of don't, it'll still take some time, but it won't be terrible. And then, of course, if you go guns blazing, it won't be it won't be easy, but it's potentially faster. I like how Sigurd here is just saying, I don't care if our people are behind enemy lines. Let's attack now. being pulled by this mysterious stone of his, and then berating our efforts. I've had not dreams, but visions and prophecies. And then he saunters off, and Basm chases after him. I like how Geadric's unfazed by this. He's like, well, you know, you talk, you do whatever you want, but are we doing this? Let's do it. Now, Folke's agenda is, well, shrouded in mystery, I would say. Because although she should have an axe to grind with Edwin for being imprisoned for a few weeks or a month, the amount of enmity that she has towards her seems to be words only. Like, I'll kind of help you, but not directly help you. So it seems like suspect, I would say. All right, now, unlike the previous assault that we did, I know, like which one? This one, I went straight for the objectives, taking care of enemy soldiers as they focus on me, plus, of course, looking out for the arrows that are being shot and raining down in the general vicinity. You can go straight for the objectives, and that'll get you a little bit closer to finishing the assault faster. Or, you know, you can fight the guys and then move on. It's really up to you. I went pretty much straight for the objectives. You know, occasionally I would see where I could help out, and then I would help and then move on. All right, so the portcullis, this giant door that just drops down. So drawbridge first, and then the portcullis, which the controls, of course, are right above it. That only makes sense. Using simple machines, they make the job a lot easier instead of, you know, having 10 men dedicated to lifting and lowering the portcullis. They have some pulleys to make it easier, so you only need, you know, 2, maybe 3 people to do it. Whereas if you're on the ground, you know, you're going to need 10 or 20 guys all lifting to lift it and keep it up. And then, of course, that's not very realistic when you're being attacked, obviously. All right, so we got that done. And now all we have to do is find Edwin, and she is right in front of the keep. So I kind of thought that Sigurd would want to take out Edwin. That would kind of make sense to me. If he's this god or son of a god, then he would, or should, be the one to take her out. But he's not seen the stone yet, so he can't confirm his godliness. So we have to do it. Now, I will say that Edwin's attacks are, although she's using the same spear that a pikeman would use, her attacks are more varied, and the timing is a little bit different. Some of her attacks, you don't have a lot of time to put up your parry if you're going to block. Plus, you have obviously unblockables, and then of course she can get her health back if you let her. Since she's basically always in motion, it's going to be difficult to hit her with arrows in the weak points to stun her. So I would say, and what I did was try to poison her or catch her on fire so I could tick away at her health a little bit here, a little bit there, until she has nothing left. One stun attack will do a decent amount of damage, but I think it's small potatoes in the big picture. Whereas, you know, if you're ticking away health using poison attacks and fire, then it's going to work out a lot better. But once you defeat her, everyone else is going to drop their weapon and give up. Alright, the assault is over. And that's all we need to do, right? Oh, wait. No. Much like real life, you got to deal with the aftermath of everything. So, of course, Sigurd is going to be out looking for the stone to see how important he is. Edwin, with the tongue of a sailor, she just likes to fling out curses at people. And all of a sudden, we've got to decide what to do with her. It doesn't really seem like either choice is a great choice, because if she's exiled, she'd go to Wessex with Alfred, and then regain strength and try to take back the region. If we throw her, or have Geadric throw her in the prison, then she could break out, or someone could break her out, and she could be a menace again. Go into hiding, build support, and then come back. So, the less direct of the two is what I chose. Put her behind bars, so at least there is a barrier, because she doesn't seem to be one to follow the rules anyway. If you're going to be plundering, do it now. Alright, so now that we've dealt with Edwin, we can check on Sigurd and see what's going on. So Geadric, I think, is going to be a good leader, at least a good warrior king, if not a good politician. But that's my personal opinion. Alright, let's see. Well, the gang's all here. Folke and Basim and Sigurd. I mean, it's officially, in quotes, Folke's stone. Sigurd's looking at it. And what's amusing about this whole thing is that Sigurd is claiming to be a god or a son of a god. And here we are talking to Odin about what's going on. And saying, I've passed through this doorway before with Sigurd in a dream. So it's like, yeah, I know Sigurd says he's godly, but you know, I just finished talking to Odin. And then Basim's given us the eye. Like, I thought at the beginning Basim was decent, but the more time I spend around him, the more I dislike him. He comes off as a creeper and a manipulator. Don't care for him. I don't care if he is with the assassins. Fogged, shadowed. This stone kind of feels like a medieval Dark Ages version of the horoscope. Like, hey, I feel the meaning behind it. Therefore, I am godly. Dark magic. Sigurd, don't listen. Everything is real. Yeah, but forget about all that. We've got immediate problems. Alfred's here. He got here earlier than expected. And the men from the assault are exhausted. So you could attempt a defense, but after sabotaging all their defenses, you're not going to have too much to go on. So, of course, you're going to have to talk. Oof, right off the bat. People in Mercia, they don't like you. Return to Wessex. And leave Mercia to me, the Danes. And then Basim's like, hey, offer an exchange. Doesn't seem great. Let's end it here. Exchange men. Have peace. You leave Mercia. We'll fall back north of River Ouse.
These terms are fair. Wolfrich.
Alfred's like, yep, Wolfrich. Big beast of a man. It's like, okay. Who's your man? Why is he asking Geadric?
I offer myself. Thank you,
So he was looking at Eivor, but then Basim's like, hey, choose me.
Paladin Fulke.
And now Fulke is in the picture. Paladin Fulke. Not witch, not heretic, not madwoman.
Sigurd is the only man we need.
And throwing Sigurd under the bus.
He is the son of a king.
Son of a king, which I told her.
And his heresies are profound.
And he says he's a god, which of course he's been saying for a little while now. Ugly.
I'll gift myself to you, King Alfred.
And of course, Sigurd's got delusions of grandeur, so I won't die by your hand, Alfred.
Faith, for the Lord God watches over you all.
Man, the twist in the plot here.
Let me hold him.
Sigurd's out of the picture once again.
Treat him with care.
Alright, and that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to check us out on social media, and thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And we'll see you next time.
What was that? I will shadow them. They shall not get away.